Welcome to Embracing Infinity, exploring the infinite oneness in the space of love and truth. Host Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual medium, healer, channeler, mentor, and transformational guide. Her focus is encouraging individuals to know themselves within the lens of their divine heart and highest potential, to evolve within the frequency of love and peaceful harmony. Now, here's your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Embracing Infinity. I'm Jennifer Rose, and I'm so happy to be here for our second episode of Embracing Infinity on the Sacred Spiral Network. Welcome, everyone, as you're all tuning in. I want to give a big thank you to Kelly Brickle, who has created this beautiful labor of love on the Sacred Spiral Network, for allowing this show to be part of her beautiful creation. So everyone give a shout out to Kelly, and Mr. Todd Bates, of course, who is very much helping in this process as well. So I'm so excited here today to have Colin Walker be joining us for this this time that we all have together, and so excited to see all of our friends joining in. And we're going to have a most wonderful discussion. And before Colin comes in, I'm just going to chat with you just for a couple of minutes. So it's interesting to see how the stars align and how everything continues to connect in the most beautiful synchronistic way. And I'm looking forward to chatting with Colin, with all of you with us here about the connection and the transformation and the emergence into the higher dimensions or the higher consciousness that we're all on this beautiful journey with together. But make no mistake, of course, what shows up in my Facebook memories today is an Albert Einstein quote that I reshared onto my page. And he says, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And I thought, well, that was an interesting memory to show up today. And what that means is that when I wrote that post, created that post, and I wrote a little bit to go with it about transformation, and that was 3 years ago. And so what that means is Spirit knew, and I didn't, my personality didn't, but Spirit knew that 3 years from that day, I would be here today, here talking with Colin, with all of you, but I didn't know. So it's really exciting to see all of the little connections and how they show up for us here today too. Hence, infinity. We're all on this journey of understanding this incredible, mysterious oneness that we are all a part of while we are enjoying being us here as us. So it's very, very, indeed, Stacia, very, very magical. And I'm so excited to see you all here today. And thanks again for joining in. And so I'm really hoping that as we, move through the rest of the year, as the show comes on, we'll keep working on this journey together of the Know Thyself process of learning more about our multidimensional self, learning more about reality, and moving up that ladder of Know Thyself so that we can all experience the wonder, the mystery, and the magic together. So very, very, very exciting. But I don't want to talk for too long because I know you are all so excited to have Colin here today and to hear his story. So let's go ahead and bring Colin in. Hello, Colin.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Thank you to you and thank you to you and Kelly and the Sacred Spiral Network for inviting me and Spirit in this place.
Likewise. We're so happy to have you here, and I feel your beautiful energy. It's so graceful, it's so lovely, it's so loving, and it's wonderful to have this time of connection with you here today. So it's and I love that it's all been divinely orchestrated just for all of us. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Would you like to say hi to our guests here today with me?
Yes.
Go over in the comments, we can say hello, because I know we've got Krish here.
Krish. Hi, Krish.
Here.
Hello, yeah. Krish. Hi, friend. Stacia. Is it Stacia? Stacia. Yeah. Hi, Stacia. Hi, Iris. Hello.
Yeah.
And Kerry. Hi, Kerry. I see Caroline had come up.
You see Caroline, beautiful. And I have to put my glasses on or I can't see. Kristen is here. I know it is what it is.
Murray. We know Murray.
Amy, Laura.
And Laura.
Amy.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Mike.
Yay.
Amazing. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's beautiful.
Yay.
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn
Yasmin's on as well
too, and Melinda's here. Yeah, a lot of our beautiful friends here are here today, so they're here supporting us and here to be part of this discussion. And everyone who's joining, please let us know if you have any questions for Colin that we can talk about together as we move through our discussion. We would love to be able to, work with you in any ways that we can make life more beautiful and magical for you. So let's go ahead and do that. But Colin, would you do us the honor of just telling us a little bit about yourself and like how you work within the spiritual community and how you kind of came into being what you're doing here today?
Actually, that might be the best thing to start with. How we actually came into being. How did we come into being?
No mistake, I worded it that way. I thought that sounded a little odd, but hey, it was.
There was a vibration to that one. I'll try and speed it up. Commonly, it's known as a spiritual awakening. We know, and we know the world is awakening more quicker now, more rapid. So I experienced what we can call a spiritual awakening, born out of or inspired from pressure, like it is. I kind of think an awakening now is more of an expansion of our psyche, the mind, the awareness of it. So I experienced it several years ago, we'll say, and I had what's commonly known as a life review, but I tried to avoid certain words, and it was a complete life review. It lasted. I may as well just say it as it is. It was as if I was watching a train within my mind, a rapid train passing my sight, and on each window in each cabin was a scene of my life, and that could continue for a full week, and so eventually it was that powerful. All the emotions and the thoughts and feelings going all the way back to the beginning of this life and slightly previous incarnations. And when it finished, I was completely hollow. I was completely empty. I didn't even have any thoughts. I had to actually invent a thought. I had to create a thought because I didn't have any. It was empty. And of course, that's what Buddhists refer to as emptiness, the emptiness of our own awareness. So I experienced that, and that just started the path off. The old Colin had completely, let's say, died. It wasn't a dying of Colin. Obviously, it's a transformation. We transform our energy. But the old Colin had gone completely, 100%. So it was a full-blown spiritual awakening. And then I was left in the presence of angels. The light was the number one thing, from the center point within our being to as far as we can imagine in infinity. We emanate this wonderful light. That's who we are. We're beings of light. And we try and give ourselves these, in order to associate with each other, we try to give ourselves these names, such as Colin, or titles such as mediums, channels, etc., which we need to do so people can kind of grasp who we are and what we're doing. Yet ultimately, we don't have any of them things. We are what we can say pure energy, which it emanates through infinity, and we walk with angelic beings at all times. So that experience, when I came out of that experience, there was a profound realization of God as in consciousness or cosmic awareness, and we're just walking with the angels for 20 years afterwards, every single day, in just total bliss. And I knew that in that moment, what happens is our grasping of the I, the self, is completely dissolved, and our thoughts are merely for other beings. So our life is no longer ours as we understand it, because we're this unified form of energy, this cosmic energy, which is, how can we describe it? just a vibration of awareness of oneness. So the human side, the individuality of us and the separateness don't exist. There's just this complete blissful state of everything's okay, and this is a cosmic dance, so to speak. So that's there's too much to go into after that. So.
Oh, I know the dance very, very well. Dance it is indeed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a very fast dance, and sometimes it's a very slow dance. That's so funny. So beautifully worded, and thank you so much for sharing. And I think this is really helpful for our viewers too, who are going through their own awakening transformation, so they can hear the similarities to their stories and know that they're, that this is part of the process. This is normal, because I went through the life review too, and I went into the emptiness. I went into the separation of separate self, to where the separation of separate self, which is, it's a riddle. It always is, and experienced my multidimensional self of like all the different like sort of facets of me, and came to realize we're channeling this reality. It is the dream that we know it is, but as I would say with the Albert Einstein quote, it's a meaningful and purposeful one. So it's all happening for the most beautiful, miraculous reason. But, our awareness of it is dependent on sort of like where our consciousness is in the moment, so to speak. So, but thank you so much for sharing that too. And so I feel like all of our journeys are going to look a little bit different, but there's going to be those similarities. But it's not an easy process to go through. I'm sure that was the same for you, because there's a lot of like rapid knowledge that we need to acquire, and we have to go through different things that the soul aspect of us, or the higher consciousness of us, wants to kind of like work through, so that we can emerge into that space.
Yeah, it's true. It's this is where this aspect of the illusion comes into place, because we identify with self, and in effect what we're doing is we're grasping the self. Our awareness is empty, but when we give a thought our attention, the attention of our awareness, if we just give it our attention, it's okay. But as soon as we go to the next step, we're grasping that thought. So then we then start to become that thought. So we think Colin is Colin, then Colin is Colin.
Right.
Because I grasp hold of that thought of Colin, like we grasp hold of the thought I am human, because we're grasping the thought of it. But as soon as we release ourselves from all these thoughts, like we do when especially with spiritual healing, when we do what's called the letting go process, we start dissolving all those aspects. What we're doing is dissolving our thoughts and emotions, those waves of emotions, what we've clung to so tightly, thinking it's going to give us security. And spirit around us going, no, it's not like that. Let go, it's okay, just relax. And you're okay, I can breathe. Yeah. So this is amazing stuff. And then it just opens up. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We just got a little bit of feedback. Is that me? Is that feedback coming from my end? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes. Oh, sorry, I can hear you.
It must be Mercury retrograde. I was getting a little bit of weird feedback in the back there. So yeah, beautifully said. And it's interesting because for myself, I had to sort of like spirit sort of like needed me to come back into this 3D after going through this very long, and profound transformation. A lot of it happened during COVID too. And I know that Lynn has a question about NDEs, and I kind of experienced more of a living NDE because I had a health issue that I didn't know about that I was able to get corrected. Fortunately, it was something that was easily fixable, but it was something but it kind of like, put me even farther in the process. So with that, and I know that that's like another form, another place of consciousness or another experience that we have. So we have all these experiences, but I know that like for myself, spirit was like, we still need to push you back in this 3D. So it's kind of like this, I'm aware, I'm being me, and I'm aware that I'm living this story with everyone I'm connected to, and that I'm a story within a story within a story, but I'm also have the aware that I'm aware too happening at the same time. So it's like, I know, so I know this part and I know this part, but it's a little bit of a navigation process, because I'm also aware that not everybody can relate to me in that way, if that makes sense. So sometimes it can feel just a smidge lonely to be aware that you're aware, you know.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because then there's judgment, you know, then there's judgment about how we're living our life, or how we're perceiving reality, or how we're expressing ourselves. So have you had to encounter any of that with yourself?
Oh, yeah, at the beginning. I mean, the event I encountered, or this energy encountered, was 30 years ago. And I mean, when talk, everything was energy from that moment on, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. I remember it was very strange, and I've been holding back, but for some reason they prompted me to say it. So I remember sitting in an open circle many years ago, and I remember receiving the thought of what appeared to be Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
And I kind of dismissed it. I thought, now, because I don't do that elevated kind of thinking as far as, you know, everybody's got this guide or that guide, and it's always somebody famous, you know, and this, I've probably met more Joan of Arcs than ever existed, sort of thing. So I was kind of, you know, humorously, and I was aware of this presence, and I got Nikola Tesla, and I thought, well, this fits perfectly after the ascension and the awakening, because that spontaneous explosion tells our mind, how we become aware that we are energy, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. So from that moment on, from after the awakening, it's your mind perceives everything as energy. We rather than intellectualize and think it, when we have the profound realization of it, it's a game changer. That's the game changer. Realizations are the game changer. So what I'm enjoying about this path, with especially seeing this explosion of spiritual awakenings, which I absolutely love, everything now is ripened to the surface, and it's like now everybody's talking about energy, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations, and the kind of feeling it and sensing it, this psychic expansion. And people are saying, okay, I can feel this, and I'm feeling this vibration, or I'm sensitive to that wavelength, etc. So it's phenomenal what's going on. So in the original days, because I had such a complete, literally 100% change from one being to another, everybody who associated to me and I associated to was, you know, I mean, obviously there's those what kind of, they don't understand, but they accept because they're just lovers. But there were so many coming up to me and coming out with different terms, saying, you've changed, what's happened to you? And I was, you know, kind of explaining to a point, but I knew we can't explain ourselves, and we're not here to justify ourselves to anybody or answer to ourselves to anybody. All we can do is resonate, if it's possible, at a vibration of compassion, to understand that the event takes place with us, and when the time's right for somebody else, it will take place for them. I know it's like people at the moment, a lot of people are trying to shout from the, you know, top of the mountain, telling everybody else on the planet to wake up, and it's like, no, it's okay. We wake up when it's our time. We have that spiritual awakening. So with trust and faith and belief, we'll know that others will awaken, will have their spiritual awakening when that precise moment is right, in order with the cosmos. And which then takes us to this cosmic awareness, because we tend to question and think about everything. I need to know this, you know, we're peeling all the layers back, you know, and we're like these spiritual sponges, this cosmic sponge. We've dived into the cosmic ocean, and we're like, but sometimes when we absorb too much, we can suffocate by it. So we've got to be kind of a little bit mindful and go, okay, I need to put some kind of sense or intellectual understanding to these spiritual teachings. And at that point, we can say, right, my understanding, my questioning mind, which can be filled with doubt and indecision, is as a result of all the aspects of what I'm carrying within me. Until we have the realization that the cosmos is in perfect order, we think it's complex. And we need to, I think we need to ban the word complexity and complex. It's not, it's very simple, but it's simple to the mind what, you know, simplicity is according to the mind what thinks in its simplicity itself. So what would be simple for me is not simple for Jennifer, and likewise. But the cosmos is clearly saying, look, guys, there's an order. Remove all your delusions, get rid of everything you're hanging on to, enter that emptiness of awareness, enter into the stillness of your own mind, and you'll connect with me and see the infinity and the simplicity of all things. So there's a lot of kind of, this is where it starts to become multi-tiered, multi-layered, multi-dimensional. You know, at what point are we speaking from? Which vibration of our own awareness are we speaking? Because we know if we've got several bodies of energy, which we have obviously, when we talk about bodies, the ethereal body, etc., then those bodies have also got a pure sense of awareness to them. So when we're communicating with each other, we can tap into those other vibrations of awareness and do what we call share with each other. When we're looking at spiritual matters, we think we're under this impression we've got to learn this and learn that, when in effect, in truth, there is no learning, because we're knowing beings. We've all had this sense of knowing. I know this is going to happen, or oh, I know that somehow. I don't know how I know it, but I know it. Well, that's our inner light saying that we are knowing beings, and in that knowing, learning doesn't exist. So we're kind of really got to get rid of some of these layers of some of the conditions what we've entered into this dimension and realm of reality. You're going to have to stop me, Jennifer, because they're going to take me flying.
It's really beautiful, because I mean, this is all kind of like where surrender comes in, and you know, just moving into that space. And we will continue to be like tested, and you know, to where, you know, the situations are such that you can't find an answer, or you can't find a direction, and then it's just like trusting that it's moving through you, you know. And so I know what I found is that the higher awareness that comes through us is so pure and beautiful, but then we're also maybe meant to experience, you know, because we are still our personhood as well. We are still having the dance of our lifetimes here. We're also experiencing that wisdom and putting it into practice as well. So it's like we will be given situations to show us how perfect that is, you know. So it's like I went into the quantum field, you know, when I was going through my big transformation, and I could see how everything connected, right, you know. But then fast forward, it's like I'll still be shown different situations that'll put me into full trust mode, full surrender, and just like letting the process move. So it's almost like let's see how impossible we can make it, so that the personality of me that's still learning, you know, can navigate that full beautiful surrender. So it's funny, but we will start talking in riddles as we go through this, because as you know, like you were saying, you know, the mind wants to learn and understand, right? And then we want to trust, and we're going into the expansion and taking in all this knowledge, but then it's like, but then trust. And so it's kind of like you go back and forth, but because it's in perfect order, then nothing's gone wrong in the first place, you know? So we start to kind of talk in riddles. Yeah. So we were like meant to have that. We were meant to have that aspect, and then, you know, it's opposite, or the spectrum in between. And so it's just beautiful, continual like dance of expansion, that when we just keep moving in this massive, endless, infinite sea of perspective and perception, it gets to be fascinating, but also can put your mind in quite the pretzel at the same time, which some of us may enjoy. So,
sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, go ahead and add what you were going to add, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, if we let's say abide in stillness or in simplicity, where we place our mind into that, we know we are light, we know we're emanations of all these wonderful facets and frequencies and waves of cosmic awareness. And when we enter that stillness within, it sounds, whatever it does, saying we become the cosmos. But we can say we get closer to the sense of infinity of all things. Yeah. And in that, we've jettisoned the conditions of this plane of existence, what we call the earth. And from a spiritual point of view, as in spirit, bringing spirit into the conversation, the way they perceive it is, if we are singularities of awareness, which they constantly try to explain to us that we are. And when we look at aspects such as mediumship, healing, and all these aspects, they're trying to say to us, look, you're all cosmic beings. These are merely facets of you, who you actually are. And it's almost like they've dangled this carrot to humanity, where everybody wishes a message and wants to be a medium. Okay, and they're going, no, guys, don't clutch that. Don't grasp mediumship, etc., like you've grasped conditions on the earth. So, in effect, what they're trying to say to us is this goes way, way beyond our understanding or what we can comprehend. And the only way we can comprehend it is to go to that inner light of our own awareness. And then, in any given moment, and you made reference to this earlier, which was beautiful. And then in any given moment, when an aspect ripens, then our mind, our awareness can act regarding that circumstance. And then when that's dissolved and we just carrying on, another aspect ripens and we deal with that. And finally, it's funny that you've got these clouds going by I love it, because those clouds are like representing our thoughts. We sometimes think we're burdened and weighed down by heavy depressive thoughts and emotions, and yet just like the clouds, they'll pass by our awareness. They're moving through our awareness. If we keep our awareness empty and merely observe the clouds, we know what happens. The blue sky's there for us to see. But we tend to grab the thought of something, and what we do is we grab the thought of spiritual teachings. Many spiritual teachings, we kind of grasp hold of them, because we want to put everything into structure in order to understand it. And spirit are trying to inspire us to go, okay, no, just grasp the essence of that teaching, but then let go of it. So therefore, when we're talking about becoming channels or pure channels, which is a different conversation altogether, because there's different vibrations of channeling, as you know. So ultimately, we're on a path to becoming pure channels, and a pure channel is to be an empty channel, an empty vessel. So that means not grasping anything, just allow everything to come through us. It's like as we're sitting here now, like the people watching us. We all know we've got spirit around us. All these guys, what's on here now, we know the spirit with us, and they're saying, just let all your thoughts go. Let us come in. Let us come in, and we can guide the mind in the most magical, beautiful, radiant way. So you have to press a pause.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback on my end, but I think it's me. All good. So, so beautifully said, and that is the wonder of channeling too, and so like two parts that I get with that is one about not sort of grasping the teachings, and that because what I've learned is that with the teachings, there's so much more depth to it. So we could hear that same information 10 times and get a lot of different meanings, but there can be kind of like deeper meanings or reading between the lines through the threads of that. And so that's why if we grasp onto just like the initial aspect of what we're first getting, that may not be the full truth or the full meaning that's intended. But as we look deeper and expect there to be more behind it, and that's where you get that little bit of, detachment from the whole of it. And also from the expectations that we have. And then on the other hand, to get to the point with channeling to where, because I'm sure for you, the same with me. Like at first, it's kind of like you're hearing it and you're sort of repeating it and you're waiting, but over time it just comes through you.
Yeah.
It just comes through. And then for me, like the personality of a channel got less and less and less to where I'm just going there and bringing it in.
It's happening.
Yeah. So, but that would be a lovely segue if you wouldn't mind sharing with our guests about, the different beings that you've connected to and how channeling came to be for you, and sort of what the consistent message that seems to come through. Because I know for me, there's a very consistent message, and I feel like that's for you as well.
Yeah, it's the most consistent, the number one more than anything, in all spiritual aspects and areas, in life and reality and existence itself, is light.
Yeah.
The simplicity of that is profound beyond what our ordinary mind can grasp. So the common theme is pure light, and we can see each other as this. If we have a level of acceptance which is deep enough, where our perception of ourselves changes, we know that changes our perception to others, and we see then every other human being, as we understand them, as pure emanations of light. And in that light is that ever presence of love, the vibration of love, constantly emanating and emitting. I mean, when we speak of spiritual teachings, for me, my perception on this is to dive deep onto a teaching, even if it's just one teaching, rip it to pieces, just unravel it, contemplate upon it, take the mind away, go away somewhere and just contemplate on that one word, or what, and the profound meaning of that word. And from that, we can then say, okay, this, let's say channeling, we can say, right, what is channeling? And we say, okay, I need to think and contemplate. I need to meditate upon this word. Let me look at it. And the wonder of it is spirit, as we know, are ever present. They will guide us. They'll be with us on that journey to understand and comprehend what channeling means. So when we do that, then we can say, okay, there's many vibrations to channeling. There's many aspects of channeling. So previously, channeling was, and in America, funny enough, channeling was big in America many years ago, and not so much in England. Now, then we can say, okay, so channeling was, its original form was bringing words and intelligence from other celestial beings other than the spirit beings. It was from cosmic beings and beings of light. So that was the original form of channeling. Now what we're seeing is we can say everybody's a channel because we're like this, this pipeline, and we just need to empty the pipe, okay, and become that fluid vessel. So, but then channeling also takes different forms, because when we look at it from another frequency of awareness or vibration of thought, we can then say, okay, if I am a multidimensional being with all these various wavelengths and frequencies of awareness, then I can say, okay, I'm channeling from this particular vibration of awareness. When we do that about channeling, we have to break it down further and go, okay, what is this mind what's speaking at the moment? Well, this mind, we can say, is our conscious awareness, so to speak, or our ordinary mind, which can be quite clouded. We change and alter our vibration or structure of awareness, and we know we ascend and expand to a new frequency, and we know we can go further and further. There's a continuation of that energy. So then on other levels, we can say, okay, I'm channeling from my ethereal being, or I'm channeling from this aspect of the universe, or I'm channeling this other celestial being, all coming in from different vibrations of our own awareness. Okay, so until we can merge in complete oneness, there'll be that separation which helps us understand the layers. When we say we're a channel for trance, that's completely different, because when we're talking about being a trance channel, we're talking a completely different discarnate being, opening ourselves up, becoming a clear vessel, so that a discarnate, a separate being from us, can come in and get in deeply, and then we can say, okay, this is deep trance. So likewise, we can say there's mild trance, there's shallow trance. There's all of these variations. So when we look at the teachings, spiritual teachings, we've really got to dive in deep and go, okay, what does this particular thing mean? What that does, when we understand it, we then gain clarity of what we're speaking. We're understanding it because we've experienced it in its reality within us, and then we can speak. And that's why often we sense when somebody speaks, there's a vibration of truth what resonates with us. And on other occasions, there's a vibration what doesn't resonate with us, because there's something a little bit missing in that frequency. It's like, well, I understand what you're saying, but there's something missing, because our awareness is picking up, it's not the full, pure, correct truth of what that individual's speaking, if that makes sense. So
no, it makes total sense. What I've come to understand is because I'm able to feel the atmosphere, is that when something is feeling very very truthful and very pure, the atmosphere gets very expanded, and people get feelings of love. The nervous system calms down. Everybody just kind of goes, oh, like that, and that's kind of how we know. And then with other channelings, and it's not wrong, it's just a different way of experience it with other channelings, where there may be a challenge, I'll just say a challenge embedded within the message to look deeper, or it may have elements that are kind of separation or fear elements in there. And that might have been done just on purpose, just for our awareness to be able to learn from it, right? To learn from it. But what happens is things get constricted, and it's a different experience, and you don't feel that expanded, relaxed feeling. It's more of a constricted, closed in kind of feeling. And I've experienced it so many times. And so that's a very helpful way, if you're hearing the information and you do that, like, okay, then that's, that's good for you.
I sorry to interject, Jennifer. I totally 100% agree with what you're saying. When we're feeling in that expansive state of awareness, we've turned our light up, basically. We've mentally controlled our awareness to turn and radiate more light. We've got hold of the dimmer switch, so to speak, by our mental control, and we've turned it up. So therefore we radiate, or we don't, the light gets turned up, so to speak. And in that is exactly what you've just described. We then become ultra sensitive to the vibrations in the variations of truth and the energies around us. So we say, okay, as an example, use two examples just quickly, if I may. On one example, we can watch somebody who's saying, okay, I'm a trance medium, I'm going into trance. Okay. So we go watch them, and it's like, okay, something isn't quite right. It's trance and it's wonderful and they're doing amazing, but there's something not sitting right. And when we observe it, we can then say, okay, I can see and sense aspects of their awareness stepping into that communication, transmission, so to speak, because we're transmitting, aren't we? So when spirit is in, it's a different transmission altogether. It's completely different energy. When spirit's in and the mind is out, that individual mind is out. And this is the same with channeling, and it's the same with mediumship. I suppose we need to look at some, cold truths sometimes. Most mediumship of today's, what's taking place in today's platforms everywhere, possibly between 70 to 90%, and that's a big amount, is actually, we can refer to it as contaminated clairvoyance, because our mind is stepping in, mine included. Our mind is stepping into it, and therefore it's interfering with the message what's coming from spirit. So until we can empty the mind and let spirit come in and give the message completely, we're contaminating is a strong word, but in effect we're adding into the message, if that makes sense. And so the same applies with healing, the same applies with chants, and the same applies with channeling. So spirit going, this is why they've always said, move your mind out of the way. It's okay. We've got it. Just move, keep moving. So then it's trained in the mind in order to move our conscious awareness completely out of the way and spirit's it. So it's, for me, the understanding of spiritual teachings is to really grasp them and grasp what they are. Like the word spirit, if we pick the word spirit up, there'd be 1,000 different opinions and views on it. But ultimately, and I think maybe this is the best way to describe or explain what's going on. Ultimately, there's correct truth, because the correct truth is the purest truth, and the rest is secondary. So we can say, okay, everybody's true, because I believe everybody is true, because Colin's got to think that, because if he thinks he's correct, then he's got to believe everybody else is correct, because that's what they think. So that's our sense of equanimity with each other. So it's like, okay, where are we then, guys? Okay. So this comes from a point where, through the spiritual teachings, peeling them back and going, we need to find the correct truth about this. Because until we can find the correct truth, we'll remain in some degree of ignorance within our awareness. And we don't want to be ignorant, because we don't want to be sharing contaminated or information what might contain some of our ignorance, because we're dealing with, without sounding elevated, we're dealing with very vulnerable minds. So it's our duty and responsibility to empty our mind as much as we possibly can, so that what's conveyed through us or transmitted through us on all them different aspects, trance, channeling, healing, etc., is of the purest it possibly can. It can be. So when we move to this cosmic awareness, that cosmic awareness then informs us, right, okay, let's be the empty vessel then. Let's dance. Let's get on with this. And Colin's gone. And let's strip the light fantastic. So to speak.
Let's dance. That's so very true. And this is definitely where trust helps, where surrender helps, and where transformation helps, because the gift of difficult transformation that we've both had to go through, that it's very intense, is that it does give us that awareness that we are more than the individuated self, and that allows us to have that trust with spirit to step aside. But also it almost starts to become second nature, because you can feel the change in the atmosphere, and they help to kind of subdue the mind so that they can come in easier, and it just becomes more second nature after a while. But what I found, ultimately, is like what you're saying, is it uplifting? Is it healing? Is it based in love? And that kind of lets you know, because then you experience the heart opening. And so that's where the consistency in the messages tends to be, that I have found as spirit channels through me, is it's, we are spirit, we are love, we are the vastness that we feel to be the small part of. We are the biggest, we are the presence, we are the oneness. And then at the same time, it's so fun to be doing the dance of us, So I know the consciousness of Jennifer loves being Jennifer. Jennifer may not all the time.
Well, it does permeate from you, Jennifer.
Hence the dance. But you do that radiance that you talk about, and I think that is the gift of transformation. I said recently, it's the heart radiance, and that also comes from the most love that we find for ourselves, and so that love that we all try to give, to understand that we are spirit. That's how we find that love and freedom, that everybody's kind of wanting the love and the freedom, but it's in us. And that's why the best messages always say it's home is within you, God is within you, love is within you, right? And I know that you radiate that same beautiful light too, because I can feel it, I can see it, and it makes me want to cry, because it's that emotion that we feel we're in that beautiful presence.
Yeah, Jennifer, I mean, I'm just, to be honest, you speak such beautiful words. I, for some reason, spirit want to kind of just mention that even though a spiritual awakening can be, like some people call it sometimes, the dark night of the soul. It's not the dark night of the soul, to be honest. It may feel like that for some people. It's not. It's a total transformation of unwanted thought and emotional energies. We're clearing the room out. It's like our living room was, we've just put so much clutter in our living room, and that when an awakening takes place, it's just saying, I need to clear this out. And when we talk about awakenings, that transition between the third dimensional understanding of reality and then into that expanse to the fourth and fifth and so on dimensions of reality, it's a chemical reaction. We're literally, there's a collision taking place within us. All our experiences, what we have put ourselves through or walked on this path, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, at this moment, that doesn't really matter. What's happened is we've picked with perfect accuracy our experiences. And in order to kind of top this tank up sufficiently, because we need to create a chemical reaction, that's what we're after doing. And it sounds a bit scientific, but when we actually look at it, it all aligns with its spiritual teachings. And from that chemical reaction, obviously we put the experiences in mentally, emotionally, physically. We'll go for all these experiences, okay, and we're building up, and we're putting pressure on us, and a bit like a pressure cooker in a way. We're putting lots of things in, and then all of a sudden we reach what's called a state of critical mass. Because that's the moment we want. We want that moment of critical mass, because once we've attained that by all the experiences, whether it's through relationships or family, wherever it's come from in our pathway, we've taken them all on board. And there's all of a sudden there's going to be a critical mass, and then boom, chemical reaction takes place. And out of that, the mind, the psyche expands. Our awareness just blows wide open in various degrees. And it's like, okay, my life has just ended as I understood it. It's like, what on earth am I going to do now then? So there's all these variations of spiritual awakenings, and they're all in perfect order with the cosmos. It's saying Jennifer's was her awakening, Colin's was her awakening. These guys, everybody who's on here, these beautiful minds here, their awakening, all of our awakenings came at the perfect moment according to cosmic and divine, if we want, timing. But it's not timing. It's way beyond that. Okay, it's that moment. And then we just kind of clear all the dross and garbage away and go, right, okay, I'm feeling, wow, this is amazing. And then we step onto this, what we think is stepping onto the path, spiritual path. In effect, we ultimately get to the point, well, there is no path. Because if there's no Colin, how can Colin be on a path? The path don't exist if Colin doesn't exist. And this brings us back to the illusional aspects, the identity bit. So there's so much connected to all this. And we're seeing at this moment, this cosmic event, it is a cosmic event. It's happening physically, mentally, emotionally to each one of us and to the earth plane itself. We're seeing this shift of what we call human consciousness. And are we going to become spiritual beings? Are we become ethereal beings? Really, we don't even need to ask them questions. That we know we're going somewhere, and our light is emanating. And as each one of us shines our light, it's infectious. It's like a positive virus, and somebody else's light expands, somebody else, and so on. And the quicker that takes place, there's a multiplication factor. That as humanity turns their lights up, it gets faster by every moment. It's like phenomenal. So the leap, what's just taken place in the last 3 to 4 years, possibly in the next 4 to 5 years, there's going to be so many more awaken as a result of the light what's already shining. And I believe once we get up to a certain percentage, because many people say, what can I do? The world looks absolutely horrendous. And there's so much going on, and they're trying to get this balance, what's referred to as balance, between their material world and the spiritual world, and their material path and the spiritual path. And the key is just to maintain that sense of love and harmony within yourself and go, everything's okay. I'm walking with the light. I'm walking with these beautiful beings, what are guiding me. Okay, this is what's taking place in the world. What we're witnessing is not so much a transformation of material aspects, but a transformation of matter itself, the energy of matter. The particles and atoms, what we refer to as matter in this material world, it's the atoms what's transforming. We're actually creating the new world as we perceive it. And that's why there's so much joy about it, because we're happy to leave the past behind and venture forward. Because we know these dimensions, what we're opening up to, the dimensions have always been there, always through eternity. It's just that we've been, if I can say this, we've been the lunatics what's decided to land on the planet and go, okay, guys, well, let's just blast it open then, and we're the cosmic event. The cosmos is not out there somewhere. The event is here. We are the event. And when we grasp that reality, when we perceive everybody as these beautiful lights, and we see the trees and nature, these vibrating particles and atoms of love and immense beauty, we're creating that world, what we've come here to create. And that's the meaning for us. So, yeah, I mean, and this cosmic dance just continues every moment of every day. It's amazing. And we just got these beautiful beings from the light of spirit and these cosmic guides. We can't fail to mention these cosmic beings, because as the change takes place here, the change is taking place on those worlds and those dimensions as well. We have a tendency to put the location here. My world's changing. It's like, guys, it's not. The whole of everything is changing. Every single thing. This is a cosmic event. So we have to then expand our awareness and think, wow, okay then, the dimensions are not actually just appearing suddenly to us. No, they've always been there. Our mind is opening up to them now. And that's why we're seeing this wonderful gathering from the spirit planes of these beings of light. If we could imagine beings of light gathering together on the dimensions of spirit and the cosmic dimensions, coming closer to this earth plane and the peeling these layers of our hate and pain off, what we've created and we're trying to sort out. We're starting to see them and spot them and merge with them and harmonize with them. So the love isn't just located with us and exclusive to us. The love is located to them as well, because the more we shine out, radiate that love, obviously they're pure love, so their light radiates pure love, and then we find ourselves moving towards oneness. And you're going to have to press this pause button on me, because they'll just keep going, Jennifer. They'll just keep. They've been prepared.
I know. You're definitely on a roll there. It's so beautiful. We could talk about this for hours, and it's like I feel like we've just barely even scratched the surface. But I know it is so beautiful, and if at the very least, which is actually a huge thing, if we've sparked a bit of, wow, we're part of that. We are that. Like this is so much bigger than that. Really, there's such an opening right there, and moving into the wow. And I know exactly what you're saying, because when I talk, I teach sitting in the power, I do a sitting in the power meditation, and we're expanding our awareness out, or we're expanding our energy, our consciousness out. What typically channels through me is that it's already that way. We're just becoming aware of it. So the expansion is already there. It's just, we're becoming aware of it. We're moving our awareness out into that bigger place. So what we think of it is, we think we're pushing our energy out, but it actually already is. It's the mind is becoming aware of what is. And then when we move into that bigger awareness, it makes the blend with spirit and the ability to receive so much nicer and so much easier. So it's a shift in how we think it is. You understand? It's amazing. So, but yeah, this, and I know back in the early 2000s, I started seeing some channelings about, the big shift and the ascension and things like that. And it's just been growing and growing and growing. And what's so exciting now is that we're finally actually seeing it and witnessing it and experience it and feeling it too. And I loved what you said is like, but what about all the bad things that are happening? And it's like, we'll just keep cultivating the love, keep cultivating the awareness and growing within that. And you'll see a reality change in front of you, because we are channeling this reality, and it's all the perceptions. And as we shift our awareness into that higher expression of love, we'll start to see things more for how they actually are, and we'll start to be able to see that growth and that expansion.
Yeah, it's I was just thinking while you was talking, and totally agree, Jennifer. And there was another part of me thinking, there must have been so many people what thought you was an absolute lunatic when you started out on your path. Because so I kind of get it, where I kind of caught it. I'll take it. Oh no, right. So I think we can say at this moment, my understanding of it, and this is quite interesting, because we can always do a practice. When we talk about ego and humility, I always kind of like to throw this little bit in, because obviously there's variations. Everything has got different vibrations to it, including love. It's all got these different variations to it. So when we take a singularity of a word, we shouldn't take it at its face value. We should think that's got many vibrations to it. So I need to understand, I need to sense those different vibrations of that. Okay. So when we talk about, or when we bring love and ego and humility into it, my understanding is this, that when we look at our past and the history of humanity and the history of the planet, etc., and we keep going beyond. So we've had these ages and eons and periods in our, what we understand, our known history. And there's a bit of a catch to this one, because our known history, okay, is very limited, because we've only been physical on this planet for a short time, unless we're fully aware and opened up to all our previous incarnations. So our known history is limited. But when we talk in terms of eons and ages, we've seen the development of humanity, of humankind. The ascension process started way, way, way beyond in the early ages, because if we look at, just as an example, the caveman Neanderthal age, okay, and it was all to do with basic instincts, basic survival, feeding the family, etc., going out, the hunter-gatherer, etc. Well, that mindset connected to what we would say the lower chakras. Then we move through the ages, and we can see how consciousness has risen through the chakras with each age. So now we're at this stage where we can industrial age, iron age, all of them. We can see and relate the chakras, our consciousness and its relation to the chakras as we've ascended. Now we're at this point where we're sitting doing this and connecting in this way. Okay, so we know we're between the throat, anywhere from minimum the heart chakra, but I would say the throat chakra up to the crown and beyond. Okay, that's why we're stepping into what I will say is the ethereal understanding of being now, which is beyond our crown chakra anyway. So, and we're connecting in this way, but our intelligence is telling us something, that there is that vastness. We are these vastness of energy. When we look at the age we're in now, I think we can safely say, as we've passed each age, this age, we can say we're coming out, or we're seeing the end of the age of the ego. And that's why there's so much happening physically, materially on the planet, because the ego, the pride has ripened. I want this, I want that. This is my truth, your truth is wrong. And we're seeing it on that level of that vibration of people's awareness and mindset. In a way, we don't wish to see it. We don't wish to see this gruesome, horrible, ugly energy surface on the planet. The wars, the killings, the suffering, profoundly. We just don't want to see it. Yet if we flip our awareness and think, okay, as painful as this may be, it's worth it, because we're going to leave the ego behind completely. The ego is going to be dissolved. And I think this is a crucial part for people, possibly if they can grasp it, to grasp it. We're seeing the end of the age of the ego. This has been the age of the ego. I want, I'm in control. We know with our spiritual minds, we don't want control over anybody else. we struggle to get control over ourselves, and we're conscious of that. And so we focus on it. The beauty of what we're seeing, spiritually speaking, globally, is people are saying, I need to work on myself. I need to get inside. I need to heal. You know, previously you wouldn't have even heard of anything. I don't need to heal. There's nothing wrong with me. What are you on about? I need to heal, etc. Because of the pride and the ego. So what we're seeing is the end of the age of the ego, and we haven't got long left to see it completely dissolve. We're going to see circumstances which may get likely, and I have to say this because I know Spirit wanted this presented tonight, we're going to see a lot more turbulence, and we're going to feel and experience a lot more turbulence in the world, and we're going to be affected by it. And Spirit are trying to convey to everybody, just protect your light, protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your love, just protect your energy, your field of energy, because the world is we haven't got through it yet, and it's going to get a lot more turbulent, and there's going to be a lot more things, and they want us prepared for it. They don't want us to be ignorant on this, but they want us to know that the world we know, with that pain and suffering, is dissolving before our very eyes, and it's us, all of us, what's bringing that about. This is, for me, to be quite honest, the message, if there was ever a message for this evening for us and all of us together, you know, and we do love each other, regardless. People going, no, I love that person, I love that. No, we don't. We don't. We love each other because we know we are loved. In the depth of our soul, we love each other, and we've come here to make this change and go through this turbulence. And we have the backing of Spirit and those cosmic beings in those other realms and dimensions, which I would have loved to talk on a lot more, but I know we haven't been able to fit it in. So just protect your minds, protect your light, and still let it shine. So
let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Beautifully said. Yeah. And you're too funny. You're like, did people think I was crazy when I first got? I think, you know, when we start going through transformation, we actually question ourselves if we're crazy, because, you know, we start hearing things, you know, we start getting all lit up and all of the clairs start coming in. And then we, and you again, as the spirit of us is clearing things out, you start to become aware of all the different parts of self. And so there's a lot of mind voice that shows up for that too. But yeah, I did not speak this way when I first started this. I was, you know, much more naive and insecure. And so I've been, you know, put through a whole lot of change to kind of get to this point. But it's just, it is the continual evolution of love that we are experiencing and unfolding. It's just a continuous evolution of love. And even in the most enormous destruction, I just know God, Spirit, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, will keep proving it to itself. Look how much beauty and love I can create, no matter how bad things get, you know, and prove to us. And the more that's proven, the more we really start to believe and have that pure faith, that pure trust, and that enables us to embody the higher awareness of us as well. So it all kind of goes together. And I do feel like we will be, the more we can grasp our own capacity of love as we keep cultivating it, the more we grasp our own capacity of love, then we may get that tested against us too, like, you know, to keep trusting in it too. So that's one thing that we can all keep in mind, is that, you know, we are all trying to be a part of this ascension. We're all trying to do our part in helping it along without controlling anybody else, without trying to force it on anybody else. We're trying to help the process by being the best us and radiating the most love and trying to be the least judgmental that we can. And we do that with practice and so forth too. But we may get tested in our own process, because that's also our own evolution. And I just feel like it never ends. It is infinite. There's beyond. And, you know, so we'll keep evolving, and we'll keep growing in self as well. And it just becomes a beautiful miracle. And that's where you just kind of, so
it's like we're getting so close to existing at all times in the knowing and in the energy of knowing, where there'll be no more learning. There'll just be the knowing. Each one of us will have that knowing of anything and everything. And that condition of learning has been a part of simple evolution. You know, when we look at planes, when people say, well, what's the meaning to life? Why am I here? What's my purpose? We can't ask that question. We can ask the question with our ordinary mind, but we're not going to get the answer with our ordinary mind because our ordinary mind is too full. So we must sit in the stillness, because that's where, from stillness is born clarity, and from clarity is clear light, and the clear light of awareness. And so anybody, any spiritual practitioner of any nature, in any faith or belief system, stillness is key to the soul. It's like the doorway to the soul. And we know that's where all the answers lies. We haven't taken no questions, Jennifer.
I know. Well, oh, I can hear myself in feedback, and it's rather disconcerting.
Sorry.
But yeah, that stillness, you know, we move into little parts of that, like when we're driving or showering or washing the dishes or right before sleep, we move into a little bit of an altered state, and that helps us. And we find that that's where a lot of these little aha moments and things come. And even if those of you who are practicing meditation and you're like, oh, I'm thinking all the time, if you maybe give yourself long enough to stay there, eventually the mind will get tired of thinking, you know, it'll get it out of your system, and you'll finally find that quiet space. And there it shows up. The hard part is all of the wisdom shows up, and then we can't hold on to it because we're into the space of the constant, the knowing. So it's hard to hold on to the thoughts and just trust that they stay there. But I know when you were speaking just a few minutes ago, I was having a hard time keeping my eyes open because I started moving into my own, resonance with you. And it was like, and so and I just knew everything you were saying was just in the flow, and so I was just like moved into that flow, and I'm like, stay with us. But that's how it was. I was like feeling the knowing of what you were saying. So it was really beautiful. But yes, we do have a little bit of time left. So it would be lovely if we could tackle a couple of questions here and to see who is on. I know that early on, Lynn was talking about near-death experience as well. And that was at the beginning, and I haven't forgotten you, Lynn. But let's see who we can pop up. I can look in the comments, or if you want to look at the comments too and see who you feel drawn to, Colin.
Yeah, thank you. Because there was one, I didn't want to be rude. I knew it was going to be Pandana. And let's just have a look. I can't find the comment. I'm so sorry. There was a comment. I think it was the very first.
Was it early on?
It was the NDA one, something to do with the near-death experience.
Yeah, I think that was Lynn who was talking about the near-death.
Oh, experience. Lynn, how does one go into a full life review short of having a near-death experience? So.
Yeah, well, we've both had that.
Off you go, Jennifer. I was going to say, off you go, Jennifer.
I just came to me, like it just happened. And so I had already been through several years of transformation. And then when what I was going to say, a much more intense phase of it showed up during COVID for me. And it was kind of a living NDE for me too, but I didn't actually, physically pass, but it contributed. So that's where I say that a lot of times that happens, and it's almost like it helps along the process too. But I think we find ourselves in that altered state of consciousness, and it's just flowing through our awareness, and then you're watching it. For me, I was also in conversation with spirit, kind of like guiding me through the process of what I was learning from all of these memories that kept flooding. So it almost like I had spirit kind of being as a therapist or psychologist with me in the process of like moving through that process until I grew in my awareness enough to where then I could just understand it without needing that extra help, if that makes sense. But I just kept being reminded through the process, not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. So the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions, the facets of self, they just kept saying, not you, not you, not you. And eventually it was like, okay, there's no me, boom. And then that was it, that was it. But then, I'm still Jennifer here today. So we're both, it's the dance. It's the beautiful dance. So how about for you, my dear?
Well, I would say, this.
Do a regression, right? You could do a hypnotic regression.
I don't want to disturb anybody. So I would say we can't have a full life review without having a near-death experience. They come hand in hand. A full one. What we've got to do, again, like we said previously, we've got to look at what the word life review means, or the life review which is coupled to the spiritual awakening, or part of the psychic expansion. So there's variations of a life review. I suppose we can liken it to, some people can go in one room of their home and empty the room to have a clear out. Others can empty 2 or 3 rooms. A full life review is to empty the whole house and dismantle and dissolve the full house. And therefore, that nothing what was there previously exists any longer. And at that point, then you're in union with spirit, which is where your near-death experience comes in. My own personal take on it was, when that took place, was the presence of angels, angelic beings. Because there was no way I was going to be able to survive that impact of that experience, because that chemical reaction was a full-blown one. So what we're seeing is variations of life reviews, and it's funny because I probably want to take this opportunity here to say this: the word life review actually originated, from my understanding, with and some of you would have heard him. A guy called Daniel Brinkley, and he's American, and he had a near-death experience, which you can read his books. But I've always, for many years, I've never wanted to use that word because it would belong to him. He kind of spoke about it, and I think a lot of people have kind of used that term, life review, and it's probably the best way of summing it up. But it belonged to Daniel Brinkley, that term, as far as my understanding is concerned. But yeah, going back to the near-death, having a full one without the sort of having near-death, no, it's not possible, Lynn. You've got to die.
Yeah.
If you have a full life review, you've got to die.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And for me, I might take it a step further, like die and not come back into this consciousness. So even in an NDE, we're still coming back. So yeah. I just had this feeling that there's even more when you actually are there and you're not, you don't come back here into this consciousness. But it's amazing because what happens, because I think NDEs are fascinating too, because they show us that this physical reality isn't so physical. This 3D isn't so 3D, because I mean, people come back that they could already be all the way, in the morgue and zipped up, and all like major stuff happens. And when we get into talk, and I know we're running out of time here, but we get into talk, that's where it's fascinating to see what happens with a lot of the different experiences that people have. But I agree with you that I don't think we have the full one when we're actually still in this experience. But certainly, Lynn, you could have a significant enough one to make a huge impact on your life too. But I would suggest just let it come as your spirit is ready for you, as the divine wants it to happen for you. And I think when we sort of let go of the wanting, then that's when it tends to show up a little bit faster. But it's not the easiest process to go through either. You know what I mean? It comes with, it comes with the emotions attached to that we weren't aware of as well. But there's an incredible amount of learning from that. So, but Colin, I know we're running out of time here. So where can everybody find you? And what do you have coming up, please?
Somewhere out there in the vastness of the cosmos. I don't know.
Or right here.
I'm present. Yeah. Menorca Consciousness Group, which, as you can see on the page of that's where you find everything through there. Menorca Consciousness Group. We've got some beautiful things coming up. We've got a spiritual convention in Spain in June. We've got a beautiful retreat also on one of the islands in Spain in August. We're just about to start some courses. Trance course. It's not started yet. We've just made them available. Trance course, mediumship course, We're doing an angelic attunement, you know, it's all, and we always do spiritual chats. We have an open circle every Sunday. There's so much going on. So, but if I may, I'll take this moment to announce we've been working in the background, and we're going to be opening what we can call a virtual centre. It's going to be called Ethereal Virtual Centre, EVC for short. And it will be a place where people can come, where there'll be simultaneous, it's on Zoom, people will be able to participate in simultaneous events. So if there's an open circle in one room, there'll be a development group on the other room, etc. There'll be support spaces for males, females, everybody what's needed, the support. There'll be a meditation space available for people to come in, etc. So it's literally a centre in a virtual sense. If you imagine a physical centre going into your local town and there's rooms in there and you can go see different therapists or readings, and people can book for readings and receive healing, etc. So this is our first public announcement about it, to be honest. We're just about to open it in the next month. So and it will be called Ethereal Virtual Centre, because the closer we can get to it now is that we are ethereal beings.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I can feel this beautiful container of love around all of that and this creation. So thank you for creating that for all of us, you know, helping to make this world a better place, this reality a better place for all of us, so that we can all continue together, you know, because it's a journey of self, but it's also a journey of us, the togetherness and the oneness that we're all trying to find within us. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and your love and your light with all of us. I'm truly grateful. I hope that you will come back soon, because I know there's just so many other questions and comments that we didn't get to fully address, but that gives us information that we can, you know,
have we got quick time? Can I just say to everybody, if you copy and paste your questions, and we'll try and arrange, if Jennifer's up for this, we'll try and arrange a question and answer on Menorca Consciousness Group and invite Jennifer over to our space.
Oh, I would love that.
We would love it. Jennifer would absolutely love it. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who visits and comes to Menorca Consciousness Group. Thank you so profoundly for bringing your lights and your support and your spiritual guide. And thank you to you, Jennifer, and of course, Kelly. You're doing absolutely beautiful. This is why, I don't know, I know Spirit connected us for a very special reason. So yeah, thank you. I'm just very humbling, deeply. So
for me as well. And I remember we had the most lovely discussion about a year ago together where we got to connected, and we were just, it was that, you know, that remembering, you know, and it was just like love, seeing love, you know. And so I remember that. So I'm truly grateful that we got to bring this full circle and come again. So thank you to everybody who has been watching and listening, and for all of your lovely comments, all of our beautiful friends. I feel all of your love and your energy. You're truly amazing. Next week, we're going to have Shannon Rattay on. She's my dear friend, medium, and angelic messenger. So she will be bringing in messages from the angels, and she does the most amazing angelic transmission, which feels, oh my gosh, it's magical. So you guys will want to make sure you come next week as well for that. And please stay in the love. Let it be your guide. Let it be your compass. Remember that it is you. And any final words from you, Colin, that you can just leave us with?
First off, if I may, thank you to Ava, because she does all the work behind the scenes on Menorca Consciousness Group. We won't be here without her, to be honest. It goes without saying, those beings and emanations, what love us most profoundly beyond our wildest imaginations, our respect to them at all times, and reverence towards them, and to everybody. Not just let your light shine. Protect your mind and just enjoy the journey. That's the most important thing. Feel the love and the joy of the journey in every moment possible. Move your minds into that space, because it's the most precious space. And we're on a very precious journey together, all of us. There is no separateness, there's just the oneness. And that's it. Thank you so very much.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you again, Colin, and everybody have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again on Embracing Infinity, and we'll do our Q&A session too. That'll be wonderful. Yes. So like we'll just keep creating more of this love together. So have a beautiful time, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Lots of love to everybody. Thank you.